Hi, my name is Aubrey Copeland, and this is the field test of the Alcohol Use Disorder Behaviors Survey. Variable selection and test identification. Heavy alcohol consumption. The term heavy alcohol consumption refers to drinking a level of alcohol that is more than the average number of drinks considered to be safe and a healthy amount. Studying this variable is crucial since excessive drinking is a primary cause of mortality in the United States, despite the fact that it is also a preventable cause of death. The AUI was created by John L. Horan, Kenneth W. Wanberg, and Mark F. Foster. Individuals aged 16 and older who use alcohol to some degree are subjected to a test designed to analyze patterns of behavior, views, and consequences connected to alcohol use. This test is administered to people who do consume alcohol to some degree. On a computer, there is an option for people to self-administer the exam. The survey makes use of computerized scoring methods, and it consists of 228 yes or no questions that are divided up into 24 different scales. The normative sample consists of 1,290 people over the age of 16 from all across the United States. The sample is a good indication of the population of alcohol users since it is broad and distributed like the population that does use alcohol. The sample does not restrict people who consume alcohol to those who are of the legal drinking age in the United States, which is 21, but instead includes those aged 16 and older, which expands the representation of drinkers in the United States to an adequate level. The tests identified were the Alcohol Use Inventory, AUI, and the Alcohol Use Disorders Identification Test, the AUDIT, or audit. Both of these tests were shown to have high reliability and validity. However, the audit was shown to measure a greater amount of what this test in this study was trying to measure. All participants, which there were 20, who responded to the survey were all emerging adults, meaning they were between the ages of 18 to 25 years of age. The participants consisted of 10 males and 10 females, 50% male, 50% female. The ethnic composition was 50% Caucasian, 20% Hispanic, 15% African American, 10% Asian, and 5% other. 12 of the participants reported being single, 60%, while 8 reported being in a relationship of some sort, 40%. Only 1 participant reported being married. The sampling procedure involved the utilization of an anonymous questionnaire sent through an anonymous email system to those who have agreed to participate in surveys for scientific or psychological research. This procedure utilized a convenient sample of volunteers from databases who met the demographic cohort of being an emerging adult. In order to achieve sufficient statistical power, the current study obtained data from 20 participants. The apparatus was an Apple MacBook Pro, Retina 13-inch early 2015. Apple Mail was also used, version 14, to send out the survey via email. Regarding materials, a 15-subject questionnaire was utilized. It was a questionnaire with 15 items on a 4-point psychometric Likert scale entitled the Alcohol Use Disorder Behavior Survey. The procedure of the survey study involved a survey method research design. You can see the directions that they were given in the Appendix A. Descriptive statistics for the new survey, the AUDB, and the audit were calculated. These descriptive statistics can be seen in Table 1. The distribution of scores on the AUDB appears to be essentially normally distributed, while the distribution of scores on the audit seems to be somewhat positively skewed. The Spearman-Brown prophecy formula was calculated to evaluate the internal consistency of items on the AUDB, which you can see in Table 2. The real reliability coefficient obtained was 0.994, indicating that these items have very adequate reliability, and thus will produce similar results under consistent conditions. The validity of the AUDB was assessed with the total scores of the AUTB correlated with total scores on the audit. A validity coefficient of 0.935, R equals 0.935, which you can see in Table 3, indicated that the convergent validity of the test was very adequate. The closer the validity coefficient to 1, the more confidence you can have in predictions made from the test scores. Therefore, this test should show high validity and the method measures what is intended to measure. This survey was intended to assist and answer the original study question, which was whether or not there is a positive association between existing as an emerging adult and engaging in alcohol use disorder behaviors. However, the purpose of this study was to investigate the reliability and validity of the AUDB survey in order to provide an answer to that issue. Following the completion of this survey and another survey that was connected to it, the AUDIT, or the audit, a reliability and validity study was undertaken. The findings revealed that both the reliability and validity were high, with values that were more than 0.9. This provides evidence that both surveys have a high level of consistency and can be readily duplicated under the same circumstances. This shows that the surveys have a high level of dependability. In addition, the validity of both surveys is rather high, which indicates that the surveys are successful in measuring what they have set out to measure. Emerging adulthood is a key period for the development of the brain, but it also happens to be a time when heavy drinking is often encouraged or tolerated by society. Alcohol consumption often reaches its peak in the early 20s during the period of transition into emerging adulthood, and then starts to gradually decline shortly thereafter. These declines, which are referred to as maturing out, are often assumed to be because of the acquisition of adult responsibilities that are incompatible with alcohol consumption. It is believed that this is the reason of the decrease. The fact that the study made use of the audit, which had survey questions that were quite comparable to those of the new evaluation, and helped evaluate its reliability and validity, was one of its strengths. However, since only emerging adults were polled for the study, it is not possible to conclude that the transition into adulthood is one of the most dangerous times for alcohol use. It is important to survey people who are not now in the emerging adulthood period of life in order to have a more comprehensive view of how emerging adults react to alcohol in a society as a developmental cohort that is in question. In subsequent trials, participants older than 25 years will be included. Researchers will be able to have a better grasp on the behavioral distinctions between the people who are emerging adults and those who aren't emerging adults, if they include people who fall outside the spectrum of emerging adulthood in their studies. These, on the other hand, have the potential to be quite important, since there does seem to be a link between emerging adulthood and the intake of alcohol. Researchers may be able to disseminate this knowledge to medical professionals so that those professionals might develop a heightened awareness of these behaviors associated with alcohol use disorder in young people.